Picture this. After a £55 million move, you score your first goal for your new club. It's a screamer. Top bins. They said you wouldn't be able to make it in a stacked striker room, but you've done it, announcing yourself right in front of the opposing fans. All of that pressure lifted off your shoulders, and you can't even bring yourself to celebrate. Then you do it all over again. This was the bizarre set of circumstances Chelsea forward Joao Pedro found himself in this past summer when he grabbed a sensational double against Fluminense in his first start as a Blue. Speed, power, and a clinical touch. He showed everything you could possibly want to see from your striker on his full debut. The scary truth is, performances like those have been far from the exception. Joao Pedro has finally arrived on the biggest stage, and might just have been the missing piece in Chelsea's project. Enzo Maresca's squad is arguably the most complete in England, and with Joao Pedro leading the line, this team is truly terrifying. Not celebrating his first goal wasn't some act of performative coolness. In fact, there was a whole lifetime of gratitude behind it.
I was wondering if you could try to explain to us what it is that Fluminense means to you, what it is that they gave you. You went there very young, you went there in a very difficult situation. What they have done for you, if you could try and put that into words for us.
That's simple. When I was young, I didn't have nothing. They gave everything to me. They showed me to the world. If I'm here, it's because they believe on me. So I'm very grateful. But this is football. I have to be professional. I feel sorry for them, but I have to do my job.
To understand Joao Pedro, the man and player who dons the number 20 jersey in West London today, it is necessary to look at his rise to the top. What he says here may sound dramatic, but Fluminense literally made his career. Unlike many of the Tricolor's great success stories, Joao Pedro grew up far away from the beaches and green peaks of Rio. Instead, he was born some 500 kilometers inland in 2001, in the city of Ribeirão Preto. The son of Chicão, a defensive midfielder for the local Botafogo SP, who were fighting to stay afloat in the top tier of Brazilian football, the game was always in Joao's blood. Unfortunately, Joao Pedro hardly got to see his father play professionally, as Chicão was arrested on charges of accessory to murder when his son was just a year old. While his father was locked up, Joao Pedro lived with his mother, Flavia, and took part in the Botafogo youth program. He began to garner interest from clubs across the country as a promising defensive midfield prospect. His dream, to play on the pitch with his father, which he finally accomplished when Chicão was released from prison in 2010. While his father was trying to revive his career, Joao and his mother Flavia were chasing their footballing dreams separately. At a showcase tournament when he was 10 years old, the young technician scored 2 goals in a single game from his defensive midfield position, which was enough to convince Fluminense to sponsor the youngster and his mother's move to Rio de Janeiro, beating out a medley of local Sao Paulo-based clubs for his signature. But for the first time in his career, the youngster ran into trouble. As he began to grow into his 6-foot frame, he lost some of the coordination and fluidity that had made him such an alluring prospect in the first place. Things weren't going to get much better off the pitch either, as his mother, Flavia, was struggling to make ends meet. In sheer desperation, she asked Fluminense for help, and the club immediately obliged, thus forming an even stronger bond with the player and his family. As the financial burden eased, Joao Pedro found his footing. He was moved up the pitch, first to attacking midfield, then to striker, as he had always had an eye for goal. He still struggled to fill out his frame, but his talent was clear as day. He made the leap from bench player to starter for Fluminense's U17 side, scoring 38 goals in a season. This saw renewed interest over the striker's abilities, as European giants like Barcelona, Liverpool, and Manchester City had already begun to circle around the teenager. However, it was Watford who agreed to an €11.5 million deal for the gifted youngster in late 2019, as the 18-year-old would join up with the Hornets at the start of 2020. Richarlison had paved the way in 2017 by making the exact same move, which played a massive role in the forward's decision. Joao fought through tendonitis in his ankle during his sole season with the Fluminense senior team, registering 5 goals in 29 appearances for the club that had given him everything, before he packed his bags for the Premier League. Now, leaving your home country some 9,000 kilometers away is always going to be rough, but when a global pandemic strikes just as soon as you do, that is downright brutal. Nevertheless, Joao Pedro got his first taste of Premier League action in the 2019-20 season, but was often bumped down to the U23s to help him acclimate to the more physical style of play in England. Although Watford were relegated, it actually turned out to be a blessing in disguise for the Brazilian, who was able to rack up minutes and plenty of experience in the Championship, where he registered 11 goal contributions in 31 games while still in his teens. It also helped that he filled out his frame with around 7 kilos of muscle, making him even tougher to stop with the ball at his feet. His return to the Premier League the following season was far less impressive, as he only managed 4 goal involvements in 2021-22, and Watford were once again sent down to the Championship. This time around, Joao Pedro showed that he was ready to make the leap to the next level, with 11 goals and 4 assists for a mediocre Watford side. Even after battling through calf and ankle injuries, Joao had proved he was that guy. Longtime Watford captain Troy Deeney says the striker's potential had always been clear.
He is all or nothing, Joao. Exceptional football player. The misconception of him is that he's a troublemaker. He's absolutely not that at all. At Chelsea now, you're going to see the real Joao Pedro. It's always been, I want to be the best. I want to play for my national team. I want to be the new R9. I think if he does well for 2 years there, at Real Madrid, at Barcelona, they'll come knocking. Exceptional football player.
The Prem came knocking in the summer of 2023, and this time, it was a club record £30 million deal that sent Joao to the South Coast to join forces with De Zerbi's Brighton. He was the team's top scorer in his debut season, with 20 goals across all competitions, displaying his natural eye for goal in some exhilarating scoring spurts in both domestic and European competition. Now on a bigger stage, his versatility was clearer than ever. He had fantastic playmaking instincts, ball carrying, and link-up play thanks to his time as a midfielder. But he still knew how to find the back of the net whenever the time came. As a result, he could still be deployed anywhere along the forward line, even dropping into midfield if necessary, and still make an impact. Year 2 in Brighton was less of a resounding success for Joao. A change in manager meant that his role had shifted. He was tied with Mitoma and Welbeck as the club top scorer, but saw less playing time near the end of the season for disciplinary issues and a training ground bust-up with Jan-Paul van Hecke. Still, his 30 goals and 10 assists across 70 games were a solid return, and anyone who watched him play knew what he was capable of on the ball. The relationship between club and players seemed strained. And who better to take him off Brighton's hands than Chelsea Football Club? The deal was finalized in July of 2025 for an initial £55 million plus $5 million in add-ons while Joao Pedro was back home in Brazil, literally relaxing on a beach. To many, it was a head-scratcher, as the club had recently acquired Liam Delap, with Nicholas Jackson and Christopher Nkunku already on the books. But Chelsea weren't messing around, immediately registering Joao for the FIFA Club World Cup and getting him on the first flight to the States. He made a cameo in their quarterfinal clash against Palmeiras, coming face-to-face with his future teammate Esteban Willian, warming up their locker room, Brazilian style, after the game. Chelsea advanced to the semis, where another Brazilian giant awaited them. Pedro would get his first start for the Blues, against who else but Fluminense. It only took 18 minutes for him to remind his former club exactly what they were missing. He eventually doubled his tally in the second half with another sumptuous strike as he terrorized his boyhood club while making a strong first impression for his new employer. Chelsea legend John Obi Mikel knew exactly what this meant for the club's future.
It's going to show. But Joao Pedro, those 2 goals, it just shows the quality, the belief and the trust the manager had in him to start him in this game. And he just paid that off back to the manager. But fantastic performance from the whole team.
Speaking of the manager, Enzo Maresca had this to say about the new signing.
How pleased were you with Joao Pedro's performance and his contribution and how quickly he's adjusted to life at Chelsea?
Yeah, we knew that against a low block, Joao is going to help us because he has quality in the last third against teams that they defend deep. and he showed today how good is. But
After the game, Thiago Silva, one of the greatest center backs of his generation, gave insight into his unique ties to the young star.
Esse moleque, ele é moleque especial, assim. Tenho carinho muito grande por ele. Né? Tempo atrás, indiquei ele para as pessoas que cuidam de mim, da minha parte física, saúde. Ele trabalha com meu filho lá na Europa, que cuida dos meus filhos também, o Caio Melo, enfim. E, cara, eu enfrentei ele algumas vezes no Chelsea, ele estava no Watford ainda. E ele fez 2 grandes jogos contra a gente, assim. Eu falei, cara, esse moleque é um moleque especial, assim, sabe? Não esperava que hoje ele pudesse estar numa tarde inspirada, né? Acertou 2 grandes chutes. Infelizmente, aconteceu um cria nosso, acaba que nos elimina de uma competição tão importante, mas felicidade para ele. Espero agora que o Chelsea possa ir bem na final, independentemente de quem for enfrentar. Se for o Paris, o coração vai ficar dividido. Mas se for o Real, com certeza minha torcida é pro Chelsea. E agora é levantar a cabeça, cara. Levantar a cabeça, desejar sorte pro João Pedro e seguir o nosso caminho.
From one Brazilian legend to another, Ronaldo Nazário was impressed by his compatriots' exploits at the tournament as well.
Tough this year.
Speaking of talented young players, let's talk about Joao Pedro. Wow, what a start that was for him, his first start for Chelsea.
What a quality player, what a speed, what definition. He can definition with right, with left. He moves very good, he's fast, he's tall. So I think we have a very good player for the future and for a very long time.
When the final came around, Chelsea shocked PSG by jumping out to an early 2-0 lead. João Pedro made it 3 with a deft chip over Donnarumma, winning his first bit of silverware with the Blues, which had been the primary motivation behind his move. He showed all of the composure and class of an elite Premier League striker in his first few appearances, giving Chelsea fans hope that he could be a game changer going forward. Cole Palmer, who assisted his goal in the final, knows exactly why he's adjusted to life in blue so seamlessly.
Oh, he's so good, man. Like, I love playing with him. Even in training, we just have good chemistry and know where each other are gonna be. So yeah, it was amazing to see him come in, and actually, obviously we knew he was a good player before, but like to see him actually in person is good.
While he's got off to a solid start at Stamford Bridge, the real goal for any Brazilian is making an impact for the national team. João Pedro hasn't done so yet, failing to register a single goal for the Seleção. He'll be looking to change that soon though, as his good form has already earned him a call-up from Ancelotti in September's World Cup qualifiers. At the club level, he will also be helping Esteban Willian, one of Brazil's most exciting young footballers, mature into the European game. If the two of them can carry their chemistry from Chelsea to the national team, big things could be on the horizon for a Brazil side that has struggled for consistency despite an embarrassment of riches in forward areas. Furthermore, João Pedro possesses a unique combination of traits evocative of other Brazilian Premier League stars, which make him a worthwhile addition to the Chelsea squad. He's creative like Bobby Firmino, versatile like Gabriel Jesus, and physically imposing like Richarlison. The scary truth? While others chase Neymar-level hype, João Pedro is quietly building a case to be even more reliable and impactful. Pedro isn't just another Brazilian on the books at Stamford Bridge. He could be the one who redefines what it means to lead Chelsea's attack. Will João Pedro ultimately eclipse Brazil's other stars? Drop your take below.